the other thing, and this is just me, and it's only about giving people ideas. This is the liner that came in the boot, and it's comfortable, but it's way too soft. It's way fucking too soft for any, for real riding. So these things right here are called Super Feet, and they come with different. I mean, this is what I'm talking about, right? This is stiff material. This is fucking plastic, like straight plastic, and this is almost no. I mean, it's a little squishy, but not much. So this doesn't squish. This doesn't squish. Got a little bit of squish in the liner itself, but not much. But all of these three things, like this is inside my liner, this is here, right? Still doesn't add up to this. Like, this is, I mean, that just isn't gonna do it. And again, the idea that I'm trying to get across is don't go adding a bunch of squishy shit in your boots in the idea that that's gonna make it better. It won't. It'll make it worse in terms of foot pain. Believe it or not, your foot wants to be in your boot. It doesn't obviously want to be uncomfortable, but it wants to feel like it's in a solid, secure place, right? That's what Intuition liners, like, that's the one thing I loved about these things. Once you heat molded them and put your foot in them, it was like putting your foot into a Lego. Like, you're getting input and output, performance from every square inch of your foot. These are fucking rad for that, but I don't think the Pro Wrap, this setup, is the right setup for snowboards. Anyway, again, don't go for comfortable boots. Go for a boot that has some material, has some break-in time. Heat molding is cool. These were a godsend. These are a great option for my boots, for my situation. The other thing I do for my personal setup, and everybody's personal, and again, what I'm trying to say is that if you like riding snowboards and it's a thing that you do and you want to have the best experience, you can't just, in my humble opinion, I mean, there's a handful of things you can, but for me, you can't go to a store, pick something off the shelf, put it on your feet, and just expect that to be perfectly dialed. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, and depending on the level at which you're riding or what expectations you have from your equipment, I'm not saying it can't be done, but I've been at this a long time and I like my shit to work in a certain way, and it maximizes my good time because I'm not dealing with foot pain when I put my feet in my boots. It's like putting on an old leather work glove. It feels fucking great. One of the other things I do, and this is a little bit weird, only on my rear foot, and I ride kind of a lot of angle in the front and almost zero angle in the back. But I put this little gummy. This is it seems like it's squishy, and it is kind of squishy, but it's not bad, and it puts my heel up just a couple of millimeters on my back foot only, and it allows me, when I'm doing a heel side turn, just a little bit more, because although I don't ride symmetrical boards anymore, I ride tapered boards. And the thing about tapered boards and dramatically tapered boards that have like 1.5 millimeters or more, you'll find yourself reaching for the back seat on a heel side turn because the nose of the board's biting because of the taper, a little more than tail. So what this does is it just makes up for the taper on the heel side turn for me. And again, the only reason I'm telling you that is because, one, I'm a nerd, and two, don't stop thinking about this stuff. Think about the stuff, fool around with stuff, play with stuff, make all this shit dialed. The more effort you put into your setup, the more you're gonna know what you like, what you don't like, and when you get it dialed in, then you're not ever thinking about your equipment anymore. You're just thinking about your line, you're thinking about your good time, you're thinking about your homies. That's what you want to be. You don't want to be up there fighting your shit. Last thing. How do you use these things? So these are also like a heat molded, moldable, and so you want to take these out. You can use a heat gun or a blow dryer, and you put your foot in, you put your liner in your boot, right, and then wear it around until you start feeling any pressure points at all. You can heat the whole thing, but I don't think that's necessary. I just, if I find a pressure point, I've got, my feet are shaped like flippers. So this bone right here, from here to here, I've got this wide blocky foot that's thin this way, and everybody's feet are totally different. And so I needed to blow out that section because I wore these around like, oh yeah, so that's not gonna work. And what you do is you can use stuff like this or stuff called a moleskin, and then you tape that moleskin onto that bone spur or whatever's causing you problem. Tape it onto your skin, put a sock over it, heat this, put it in there, put your chute in there and tighten the shit out of it and let it cool down. And you put my foot in here, I can feel right where that bone is, fits right there. Mark it. And these things, like you see these, every fucking, oh yeah, well this is one material, and then we've added this extra material to try to pocket like ankle, heel, ankle. Everybody does that, right? Right, it's your ankle, it's your heel. This is a little more predominant. Like these are these gaps behind your ankle. These are just sort of dead reckoning spots to try to cup your heel and ankle into a spot. These, you almost can't use these things without cutting them, because if you were to do this, then you're pushing your heel, you know, you'd have to cut this out and then stick it on there. These they sometimes work just leaving them as donuts like this. They work okay. But again, get a marker, stick your foot in your boot, figure out by tactile, mark it with a pen, and then install these things. That's how you want to do that shit. And cut these up. I mean, you know, if you go spend the money on a guy that'll really fit your boots, like materials, don't save this stuff. It's just throwaway material. It's all designed to make your boots fit. And you know, people that work in ski shops and that spend that time doing that shit, they know how important this is. Most people don't. And all I'm trying to do with this video is to give you some ideas and not to accept what is available off the shelf. You know, you're gonna have to work it out. And the primary takeaway is two things. Is soft is not good. Comfortable is not good. It's good for the lodge. It's good for having drinks in. If the boots are cool looking, then you can look cool walking around. And maybe, you know, maybe you just don't ride the shit out of snowboards. Maybe you're just up there and it's a weekend thing for you. You're a weekend warrior and you don't take it that seriously. Well, fuck. I guess don't bother with it. I am not that guy. I'm a guy that rides the shit out of snowboards, and I ride them all the time, and I've been doing it my whole life. And my shit has got to work exactly the way I want it to work. And this is how I go about it for myself. So this is it's designed to sort of be comfortable and take up some volume inside the shell. This is giving you support and response in every situation, so even when your foot's like doing this, more support, less support, your foot has the ability to swim around in this. And you can, again, build the volume inside the shell of the boot with that underneath the line and absorb some of that, make it feel tighter. It'll set your foot back, your strap will work better, your bow will work better, everything will work better because your foot's just too small for all the material. The other thing that you should know about this is that if you buy some boots and you've used them for, you know, you've been on the snow in them for 25 times or something like that, and they start packing out, it doesn't seem like you can get it tight anymore. Throw something like that in there and just build more volume in the boot underneath your thing, and then suddenly you're going to be able to get your binding straps tight and your boots tight. The amount of volume that's inside these Vans boots is nuts. I mean, I love these liners. They're so fucking good. They just don't wear anywhere, and they're like, the stitching and shit seems to be holding up. but there's a lot of volume this way, a lot of volume this way. And it's like you put your foot in there naked without a liner in it, just put your foot in a boot, it's like, oh my God, it's giant in there, right? So all the volume's got to be taken up with something. And that volume to foot size has to be just right, or your foot's going to be doing this, and you're going to be getting foot pain. And I'm telling you, foot pain will ruin a day. I've had it happen to me multiple times, usually when I'm trying on starting out with a new set of boots, trying to work them out. I hope that helps. Like, again, fuck with the rules of thumb in terms of foot pain comes from two places. One is, it comes from over tightening your ankle strap, and if you're over tightening your ankle strap, is just an indication that your boots don't fit right, because you are trying to take the volume out of inside of your boots by crushing them out with an ankle strap. That's never going to work. The other side of foot pains, not crushing your foot, but your foot trying to create volume inside the boot because you can't crank your ankle strap down enough to squish it out, which is also just going to create foot pain. But then it's too loose, and so your foot is trying to lift and trying to absorb that extra volume inside the hard shell of the boot to try to get more feeling and more response out of the snowboard. That's where you get foot pain. Too much binding tension or a too loose fitting boot. And if you get it all dialed in, when you do, and it takes some time, it takes, like, you can't do it in your house. You gotta kind of plan on riding solo. And this is the other thing, ride solo 3 or 4 or 5 times and test your shit, fuck with your shit, be that guy that's got the tools in his hand at the bottom of the lift that's fucking with whatever, or have the stuff in your backpack that, like, yeah, I'm gonna throw another fucking another one of these dudes in there, or maybe pull one out, or, you know, you've got to spend the time to do that. And if you do that, if you invest in that time, you're gonna have a way better time. Because fucking around with all that stuff and shaking it all down and making it all work, then when that game time comes with your homies and you're on a POW day and, like, shit is going off, you are not pissed off about your equipment. Take that element out of your game. Get it all dialed in. Wish I could remember the name of that. This stuff is rad, and like I said, they make them in different thicknesses. Super feet, they all have different deals. I got kind of flat skinny feet. These are fucking awesome, and they're totally responsive, and they're just exactly right. When you have the right foot support like this, and the right binding strap and the right volume, that binding strap is putting you right up against this, and that's where your arch wants to be. It never has to. Your arch doesn't ever have to do anything unless you're really fucking slamming a big hard landing, and that's how you want it. My feet never overwork. They're being supported perfectly throughout the whole liner, the whole boot, the whole time. And that's how I do it. Bang, and then that guy's in there, and then I have that. I got that. That's what I got going on in my boots. That's my back boot. My front boot's this without this. Yep.